a medical horror story you have to see to believe. A dentist accused of performing unnecessary and painful procedures on children and making himself millions of dollars doing it. The allegations are sickening, the video heartbreaking, and the fact that this doctor may not be alone should make any patient and any parent stop and think and watch our Keeping 'Em Honest investigation tonight. Also ahead in this hour, the bikers who say they're getting a bad rap even as authorities recover 1,000 weapons. Yes, 1,000 weapons, they say, from the warfare in Waco. And later, a tribute to the man who made Velcro the new black and who brought us more laughs than humans should be allowed to have. David Letterman, who's signing off tonight. First, though, no laughing matter. We begin with the 360 Keeping 'Em Honest investigation, a report you'll only see here. It involves a Florida dentist accused of harming the most vulnerable of patients, young children, while collecting millions in Medicaid payments for procedures that his patients didn't need or didn't want. In just a moment, you'll see in graphic detail what this dentist allegedly did to some of those children. And as disturbing as this story is, and we warn you, it's hard to watch at times, it may be just the tip of the iceberg. In a series of recent reports, federal health auditors have found questionable billing among dental providers in 5 states. Just this week, a new report found that more than 300 pediatric dentists in California may be overcharging Medicaid. And while these findings aren't proof of fraud or inappropriate care, the Office of the Inspector General says they raise red flags and merit further investigation. Which brings us to Florida and the dentist that Victor Blackwell found, still licensed, but very much under fire. Again, a warning, his report is at times disturbing to watch.
It's a sound no parent likes to hear. A child screaming out of fear and possibly pain from the dentist chair. This cell phone video was secretly recorded by the boy's mother. Going to the dentist is a rite of passage of sorts, but what's alleged to have happened in this office at the hands of 78-year-old Dr. Howard Schneider was not a rite of passage. It is horrifying. For the past 3 weeks, there have been daily protests outside his Jacksonville, Florida practice. One parent so angry she attacked him outside his office. Schneider says he's done nothing wrong. The firestorm started after Brandy Motley wrote about the day she took her 6-year-old daughter Brielle to Dr. Schneider to have one tooth pulled. On the day of surgery in December 2014, Motley says she was not allowed to sit with her daughter.
The nurse suggested that it's best that kids act better when the parents aren't in the room. They said, we don't like parents back here for the procedures.
So Motley says she sat in the waiting room for 3 hours until the waiting turned to worrying.
Finally, the nurse came and got me and she said there had been an incident. She was hyperventilating. She had marks all over her and blood all over her.
Angry and unable to get a clear explanation of what happened, Motley says she and Brielle left to rush to an emergency room.
In the parking lot, she takes her gauze out and I noticed all her teeth were gone.
Motley says Dr. Schneider had pulled not one tooth, but 7.
What happened to all of her teeth?
According to Mom, Brielle says Dr. Schneider hit her and choked her, so Mom called police twice. And although department records indicate officers responded, and according to police logs, one wrote a report, Jacksonville Sheriff's Office tells CNN no report was written on this incident. Initially, no attorney would take her case.
So that's when I decided to put her pictures on my Facebook and tell everybody what happened.
Her story went viral, and soon other parents posted their children's pictures and claims of unwanted procedures and abuse at the hands of Dr. Howard Schneider.
I kept reading and reading until the name Dr. Howard, and I knew that was the same dentist.
Amanda Berry is deaf. Her 5-year-old son Dominic is blind in one eye. Berry says Dominic was referred to Dr. Schneider for a crown in March. The boy is part of a civil suit accusing Schneider of assault and battery. According to the complaint, 2 front teeth were removed for unknown reasons, and Dominic was terrified and told stories of the dentist choking him.
Did you cry out? Did you scream out?
Yes, I screamed for my mom.
That's what bothers me the most, because I'm deaf. I can't hear anything. And to know that my child was calling for me and my name and I couldn't help him, it makes me feel like lousy. It makes you feel lousy. Do you know I'm always here for you?
And until now, you're with me. Until the dentist department, the mean dentist department, we were apart, and I was feeling like sad because I wasn't with you.
Every time I look at her, she can't eat.
Brielle's family at one point was part of that same lawsuit, but has since withdrawn.
Absolutely.
They're now pursuing a medical malpractice suit represented by attorney John Phillips. Phillips says he also represents dozens of Dr. Schneider's former patients. Most of them rely on Medicaid for health insurance.
Medicaid paid him per tooth. So can I cap a tooth twice? Yes. Can I then pull it? Yes. Can I then successfully obtain benefits for all three? Absolutely.
And Dr. Schneider has made a fortune from Medicaid. State records show Schneider has received nearly $4 million in Medicaid reimbursements in just the last 5 years. Now, the Florida Attorney General's office has launched a criminal Medicaid fraud investigation, and the claims stretch back decades. A 1995 malpractice suit was settled out of court. It claimed Dr. Schneider unnecessarily placed 16 crowns in the mouth of a 3-year-old. The boy's family was paid $7,500 as part of the settlement agreement. A second malpractice suit was filed that year, but the documents from that case have been destroyed, and the outcome is unclear.
Somebody who's performing procedures that children don't need, pulling teeth that he knows should still be in the child's mouth. In some cases, we even have where many procedures were done except what they came in for.
Attorney Gus Saris represents Dominic, and he says dozens more of Dr. Schneider's former patients. This month, he filed the potential class action lawsuit against Schneider on behalf of these children, claiming patterns of abuse of his child patients, an accusation that CNN discovered has been made before. According to this 2013 police report, the mother of a 5-year-old patient was allowed to sit with her daughter during a procedure. The mother told police Schneider grabbed her daughter's face and slapped her face several times. The officer acknowledged a small scratch behind the victim's left ear. The alleged offense? Battery. Dr. Schneider denied touching the girl. He was not arrested. Instead, the officer referred the mother to the state attorney's office. Nurses who were in the room later denied that anything inappropriate happened. Prosecutors decided not to file charges because of an improbability of conviction at trial. CNN made no fewer than 5 calls to Dr. Schneider's office to arrange an interview. None was returned. We found him in the parking lot of his office.
What do you think about the allegations?
What do I think about them you don't want to hear?
No, sir, I do, because
They're not correct. They're not there. I want to be left alone, okay?
Despite the calls to police and the malpractice settlements and the fraud investigation, Dr. Schneider is free to practice. His license is clear. According to the Florida Board of Dentistry, he's not been disciplined by the state. And for these parents, that's unacceptable. They want more.
Go to jail.
He never work on any other kids again. He never do that again.
It's just a stunning, stunning case. Victor Blackwell joins me now, along with our senior legal analyst and former federal prosecutor, Jeffrey Toobin. I mean, this is so unbelievable when you see these kids and the parents. How could he have practiced for so long? How long has he been practicing?
45 years he's been
45
practicing
years.
in Jacksonville. And, you know, for the first 30 of that, maybe more, there's no social media. There's no Facebook. So each of these alleged cases happens in a relative vacuum. You know, you put the allegations of this 3, 4, 5-year-old up against a dentist who's been practicing for so long. It's not until Brandy Motley places her story on Facebook, and then another parent sees it, and they tell the story. And then, as these attorneys are, they build this pattern of abuse, they call it.
I just want to put this guy's picture up again because I just think it's important to point these people out. Howard Schneider, that is his name, Dr. Howard Schneider. Why were parents going to this dentist in particular?
Well, because most of these patients rely on Medicaid for their insurance. There are few other options, if any other options. There's one doctor that's often recommended in Gainesville, 70 miles away. Well, these people, many of them don't have cars,
right,
so they have to rely on public transportation. Another dentist can get them in maybe in 4 to 6 months. One mother, the mother of the 2-year-old you saw in the story, late in the story there, she said he took out 4 teeth instead of 2, as she had expected, and then she took him back. And I said, why would you take him back? She said, there is no other dentist who will sedate my son, so I had no option.
Jeff, I mean, the details of this, I mean, it's a class action lawsuit. Obviously, the details are just horrifying.
Oh, I'm not sure I watched the whole thing. I was climbing under the table during some of this. I mean, it is just, it's such a horrible set of allegations. But you know what he's going to say? He's going to say, look, I have a clean record for 40 years. Going to the dentist can be unpleasant.
Right, no
We
kid
all
likes
know,
going to the
no
dentist.
Kid, no, you know, some kids scream. But, you know, when there are so many allegations and the combination of the financial incentive to do more procedures.
To be paid by tooth.
Exactly. And that certainly looks very bad.
Is the state attorney's office looking at this?
The 2013 case specifically, you'll remember that the nurses told the investigators with the state attorney's office nothing inappropriate happened. Well, there are reports, unconfirmed reports that Schneider has shut down his office. The theory here is that they said that in 2013 in fear of losing their jobs. If he has indeed shut down the practice, of course, that fear is out the window. And if something actually happened, they'll be more willing to talk about it now.
It is amazing to me, though, if this has been going on for a long time, that there's some nurse or some assistant is not willing to come forward. I mean, that I don't know why that would be.
That's got to be the key to the case if they are going to make a criminal case against him, because you know, remember. Assault, these are assaults if they are what the parents said. You know, when you put your hands on someone in a violent, unconsented to way, it doesn't matter if you have a white coat or not. That is an assault. Of course, it's also malpractice. It also is something that should result in the loss of a medical license, but it could be a crime. As well, the hygienists, the people who work in the office are obviously going to be critical here.
What sort of charges could he be brought up? And again, I just want to show him again, in case anybody else out there, you know, has experiences that they want authorities to know about.
Well, the list is long, but it begins with malpractice civil, civil battery, possibly criminal assault, possibly criminal fraud in connection with the Medicaid payments, and of course, the loss of his medical license to the Florida authorities. All of those are possible, and boy, and if that's true, the real question is going to be, how did this go on for so long?
Well, also that mom who can't hear her child crying, and the little boy, I mean, you just want to hug them. I mean, Victor Blackwell, I appreciate the reporting. We'll continue to follow this. Jeff Toobin, thank you as always. And a quick reminder, always you can DVR, so you can watch 360 anytime you want. Coming up next tonight, new details from the